Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Landcast. You got Brandon Chasteen here with my brother, Jeremy Chasteen. How's it going, Jeremy?
Doing great, Brandon.
Well,
All
hey,
right.
today we're joined by Taylor Doyle. How are you doing, Taylor?
I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us for the podcast.
Sure.
So tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, who you're with, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Taylor Doyle. I'm with Doyle Land Services. I'm Senior Vice President with Doyle. Currently, I oversee our marketing and business development efforts, but I've had many roles at Doyle. My dad started the business, so I started out in high school doing title work and then would do land negotiations in Louisiana and Alabama, Mississippi. And then I went to law school. So then afterwards, I came back and I was the associate general counsel and then the general counsel. And then I oversaw our renewable energy team for 3 years.
Okay.
And then I got to where I am now. So
Yeah, we got to meet each other and see you in action down at the RWA just recently in Omaha. That was fun.
thanks for coming.
Yeah, you put on a good party. I enjoyed that.
Good. I would say being from New Orleans, throwing a good party is very important to us. So
Yeah, we're originally from Texas, so I feel like
Right.
being neighbors and Texas, I feel like the same thing. You guys get to do your crawfish boil, we do
That's right.
barbecue. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds so. Your family's been in the industry for a while, then, right? So your dad started it, and from New Orleans. Are you guys from there originally, or?
Yes. So it goes back even another generation because my grandfather he was an oil and gas attorney. And that's
Okay.
how my dad got into the space. My dad was interested in going to law school, and my grandfather told him, no, son, I don't think you would like that very much. And so he didn't go to law school. And he got basically one of my grandfather's friends. My dad he didn't have a job one summer. And so my grandfather's friend was, hey, Warren, what are you doing this summer? And oh, you can come work for me. You can come be a landman. And he's
Nice.
like, what's a landman? And the guy said, you can show up on Monday and find out. So that's how he got into the business. And he's a born negotiator. So, and he would always go to my grandfather for advice on oil and gas agreements and deals. And so he got a lot of his knowledge from that, and then built the business. And now it's me and my brother are two of the executives at the company.
Kind of a similar story with me. I stumbled into it by the
Mhm.
Barnett Shell was taking off back in the early 2000s, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should check out being this thing that we had never even heard of before, being a landman."
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's a common entry into land services. We were like, oh, I didn't even know. I never even thought that somebody would have to have that job to
Yeah,
do this
absolutely.
thing. It's like, yeah, somebody has to figure that out.
Well, yeah.
Land and negotiate with people.
So with your business development marketing, I mean, often people don't even know what we do, right? They've never even heard
Yeah.
of.
I mean, I'm sure y'all talked about the show Landman many times, and this
Yeah.
probably
Yep.
won't be the last time I bring it up, but it's both getting good for the industry and also like made it very confusing, especially if you're in the right-of-way space of what land folks do. I've only had to wrestle with a couple of cartels in my days. It's not a regular thing to deal with.
So maybe one Monday a month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's minimal.
So did you ever think you were going to go a different direction, or do you always know you were going to be in the land industry, or?
Oh, I had many plans to do other things for sure. But my dad and brother are very convincing people. So that I was very interested growing up in politics, and I did some summer internships, and that's my degree originally is in political science. And then also I studied leadership studies. And so I was interested in politics, and I was finishing college and going into trying to figure out what I was doing next. And my dad had something that was part-time for me that I could start during the summer. And that's how he got me hooked, because he was like, hey, I'll pay you well, get out there and go do this for a little bit. And then I just stuck around and kept doing it. And then I was going to go to law school, and I studied, oil and gas law. So after 2 years of working, and I was doing like title work and right-of-way negotiations, and a little bit of like data management and project management. Went to law school and was interested in a wide variety of things. But I studied oil and gas law, and I also was focused on kind of business law and contracts, which ended up becoming very useful later on. But I was, I was working at 2 different firms, and then finally it was like the summer before my 3rd year, and I was like, I talked to my dad and brother, and they had some legal issues they needed help with. So I started helping with that. I was like, this is just kind of too interesting and fun to be working with my family members. And like, there are these people I had known all my life, and it was sort of hard to go do something else. Just like the former general counsel had been my mentor for years, even before I went to law school. And kind of just, it's like a family.
Whenever I was at the party, one of the things that I noticed was that while y'all, I mean, and you can tell us a little bit more about your company, but it did feel very family oriented. Your company, like, you had your dad there. I didn't see your brother. I don't know if he was there.
He didn't make it.
Was your
My mom
there?
was there.
Yeah, because
My mom was there. My mom was working the door.
Yeah. I remember meeting her.
So it was very sweet. It was a very it's always nice to see a company that runs like that, because we're similar. I mean, he and I started the company. We're brothers, and our parents still, my mom and my dad, they still go out and do some title on occasion, even though they're mostly retired. But yeah, it's a sweet thing to have a family business that's growing, but
family business that's dying. Tear each other apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like one of our things is we want to build a legacy, right? Which means hopefully something our kids can take over.
My dad was kind of like, you should do whatever you want to do. My brother he's 7 years older than me. And so he had already gone out after college, and he had worked other jobs, and he was like, you should just skip that part. Let me just tell you right now, you should just skip that part and just come work at Doyle Land Services. Like, let's just
be a landman. It's in your blood.
Yeah. Let's just start.
My understanding is you're located in Chicago now, right?
I'm here for love. My wife is from,
there we go.
Is from outside Chicago. So I'm from New Orleans. That's where Doyle Land Services is based. And my dad and brother live there, and we have 30 people out of that office.
Okay.
And so I was working there. I met my wife. We were living there for a few years, and then she wanted to go to graduate school. And so she found a program that was up here. They did not offer the program that she was interested in. She wanted to become a dietitian and a nutritionist. And New Orleans, sadly, does not have that, which I think they could use some more dietetics and nutrition advice. But, so we came up to Chicago. That was supposed to be a 2-year deal. And she finished everything in February of 2020. She passed her exams and that kind of thing. And then the pandemic hit, and we were like, well, I guess we'll stay here. And then we ended up buying a house, and so, but we go down to New Orleans all the time, and I love Chicago. I love the Midwest. I find that people will be super nice. I think that, it gets cold, but I've kind of gotten used to it. The first winter I went through, I did not have the proper clothing, and God bless my mother-in-law, who's bought me a lot of winter coats and jackets. The first winter, I had my pants that I wore when it was really cold. I'd wear jeans, and then underneath it, I would wear my sweatpants. So I was wearing 2 pairs of pants. I don't know why I couldn't just go buy something to keep me warm, but I didn't. And those were very cold winters. So
I remember the first winter here and experiencing a car sliding backwards on a hill because of the snow. It's like that. I wanted to go back to Texas. So
freaky.
Bad.
That's freaky. I know. Yeah.
But
tell us a little bit more about Doyle Land Services. So I know you guys are based out of Louisiana, but looking at it, it looks like you guys do. And I think I talked to your dad a little bit, but you guys are all over the country, right?
Yeah, we, the company was started late 1970s, early 80s is when my dad started to independently manage land agents, and have his own little group. And that's kind of grown. It's gone all over the place from having just focused on oil exploration projects
Mm-hmm.
to doing more midstream work, pipeline work, and I mean, railroad, anything that was kind of land services related for a couple decades that we would do. And now we're more focused on electric transmission and linear pipeline projects. But we also will do like renewable energy work. And that kind of get back to your question and sort of where we are. We've done work in pretty much every state except for Alaska and Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So all the lower 48, we've been in just about all of them. And it's most of the stuff we've done for 20 years has been linear pipeline projects. We've done stuff all up and down the East Coast, Florida. I mean, of course, the Southwest and Texas, or the Southeast and Texas. And we've done a lot more work in the Southwest lately. We have one of our leaders is located in California, and we've done a couple different projects over there. And then kind of as things have come up, especially due diligence projects in the Colorado, Utah area, we've done a bunch of that kind of stuff. And now more in the Midwest is really interesting. Wasn't my intention when being here that I would oversee, renewables, but Midwest ended up being such a boom from 21 to 24 in renewable energy activities in this, especially Illinois. So I was perfectly placed for it. I was overseeing one small project, and that there was 2 agents on it. And then over the next 2 years, we ended up having 40 agents who were doing stuff, mostly the Midwest, but kind of all over the country, just on renewable energy projects. And it was great to be in Illinois because, the projects were in the area, and the clients would come to Chicago or fly through Chicago. So it made it very easy to manage.
So you worked as a landman. You're currently doing business development, but you actually did you do a lot of, was what you focused on a lot of title, or did you do a lot of acquisitions, or a little bit of both?
I did a little bit of both. And it was only really 2 years when, I worked a bunch of different summers, and those summers I was kind of just doing like data doc work.
Yep.
And then for the 2 years in between college and law school, I had already done a bunch of title work, but I then started to do more and more. But the main thing I was doing was acquisitions, easements, on a couple different projects. So I was in Central Louisiana, and then East Texas, kind of the Beaumont area, and then a little bit of stuff that was in South Alabama.
Do you have a story or anything that like kind of grabbed you, or you think that would be really interesting or got you into it, whatever it might be?
And most of it felt like it was just me, this 22-year-old bumbling around in Central Louisiana, trying to figure out what I was doing and what was going on, and just meeting with people and trying to be as friendly as possible, and showing up at their house or showing up at their church and just trying to be kind and friendly, and going to any, trying to explore, just being like a young man, just like, what can I do to make this interesting, and trying out any little catfish hole restaurant that I could find. Usually there was something that was really good. You just had to ask somebody locally. I think the most interesting thing that I did was actually my first job out of college working at Doyle. We have one landowner that we represent. We only represent a couple of actual landowners in Louisiana, and most of them are there's one that we've done for probably 40 years, almost since the inception of the company. And they own a bunch of property that's in South Louisiana, right at the mouth of the Mississippi. So it's like if you go to Venice, Louisiana, and then you'd have to get on a boat, and then once you're on the boat, you'd have to drive probably like an hour in the boat down to where their property is. And their property, so my dad said, hey, we need somebody to go post the property, which means we're taking posts and we're just, marking it that this is property owned by the landowner. And the issue is that the property was getting washed away by the water as the Gulf of Mexico was rising. And as the land would get washed away, the state of Louisiana would claim that they own that now.
Yep.
It was no longer owned by our landowners. And so we were posting the property to show that we considered this to be our land, and I would take photos of it. And so I needed someone to come with me. So me and one of my friends who was unemployed came with me. And for 2 months, it was the two of us riding around in South Louisiana on this boat. And we were posting the properties, and we were fishing in the afternoons. And then on the weekends, we'd go back to New Orleans. And it was probably about one of the best times after we got kind of used to it that I could imagine for a job. And that was, so my favorite job was my first job, essentially. And it's all been downhill from there. So,
yeah. I mean, this kid. So I was in a courthouse not too long ago, and there was a group of young guys in there. They were working on some project. It's like, those are the good old, they're all having fun together. They're going to the hotel afterwards, hanging out. Like this will be a good time in their life. I remember those projects being with, friends out in the field or somewhere. And those were good days. They were replaced by their own good days, right? You got your family and responsibilities, but yeah, those are,
dude, just two young men with not a lot to do and not a lot of responsibilities. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're actually running the business, it is kind of, I don't know. I don't know for you guys, but I do actually miss going out and instead of having to run a business, you just go out and, you drive up to the person's house and you sit there and talk to a new person for an hour or two and try and get them to sign a lease. I really actually do miss that. It was a lot of fun. You'd get to see places that you've never, or that you would have never gone to before. And like you said, like you'd get to when you're in these tiny little towns, you go and you find the little random diner or the random restaurant that everybody's eating at. And yeah, I miss that part of being a landman. It's a little bit, but.
Well, they're real. Yeah.
I found it very peaceful.
Yeah.
The land acquisition process. It was, and title work. It all felt very, especially if I was just when I was just an agent and there just wasn't a lot of pressure on it. Mostly just what I like about land services work is you're just trying to build relationships with people, which is fun. And that's what I enjoy. Title work is fine. I do get a kick out of figuring it out, but that's not my joy.
Yeah. It sounds like
I'm with you there.
Jeremy and I are split there. I enjoy the figuring it out in the courthouse. I'm not so much the go out and talk to people guy. So we
y'all are kind of team. That's kind of me and my brother. We're the
yin and yang.
Yeah. One side.
Together.
That's right. That's what I always tell him.
Yeah.
Together we make this better.
Yeah.
So that's so when we first got started, there was a lot of that. You go downtown, you'd hang out, you get to go, we got to explore so much of downtown Fort Worth. We're from Fort Worth, and we got to experience it in a way that we hadn't because we were just there every day. You go out, you get your per diem, you'd go and you'd hang with your buds at the whatever afterwards. I wonder, so I'm nostalgic for that too. And I do wonder, do you see that, is that changing? Especially with technology, right? We can do a lot of title work from here. We can do a lot of the work without even having to go to someone's house. I mean, technically you could just ask them to do a Teams meeting or do a Zoom call, right? So we did a project, actually not too far from you in Joliet. And I was calling some landowners, never even once had to meet them, never had to talk to them, anything. It was all just done.
Sure.
And so you're just so I think so I would love to say that this is something that a young man or a woman who wants to be a landman, that this is something that could attract them. This is going to be great. You're going to get to go out in the field and have these experiences that we all had. But then also part of me wonders if the industry is changing. I don't know if you've seen that or.
I agree. And, for us, it's when we were doing a lot of renewable energy projects and we would talk with a lot of times smaller clients, and they'd say, hey, we just want one agent. We want one agent who's going to go out into the field and they're going to work on, these 3 locations. And that person, when we started our search, we would present them with agents who were used to working on right-of-way projects. And those right-of-way projects would have a team of people. And that team of people would support, someone was doing title, someone's doing data doc work. And then this land acquisition agent was just doing the negotiations. And we found a couple different things. First of all, that a lot of agents weren't well-rounded enough to handle everything. They weren't well-rounded enough to do the technology, to, manage the client communications of the technology. And then last thing, we heard from a bunch of agents, they're like, I don't like this that much. It's very lonely. So they felt very disconnected. And the thing is that because of technology, there's so much that you can do. One person can do so much more. But they would be out on their own and they wouldn't be able to. They do Teams meetings with the client. They do Teams meetings with the project manager who was located in New Orleans. And they just weren't enjoying it. So we'd have people who would be asked to leave, or they would leave and go work somewhere else on a right-of-way project if they could get on a pipeline project, which is, as a segue to another question that I saw on the list, was just about sort of people's experiences out there. And one of the things that I do love about land services work is just that people feel like a family. If they're out on the road and they're working together, if you have the right team, you have good leadership who brings people together. It's who you could be out there with those folks for a year, 2 years. Your projects that have lasted much longer than that. And they sort of just become your family. You're with them every single day. And I do worry that that's how that's changing and could be fading with technology and how people can communicate remotely more. So
there are guys that we worked with Fort Worth down in Kentucky that I'm still either really good friends with them, or if I were to see them today, it would feel like I'm just seeing a cousin that I was with, because haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Hawkins, if you're listening, shout out to you. You should get in the podcast. Miss you,
Ryan.
Miss you, man. Yeah. But yeah. Speaking of technology, so you guys have the Doyle system. Is that what is it called that, right? And so you guys use GIS things.
Yep.
Has technology changed that or increased your, are you doing much with AI or experimenting with that? You see that changing the industry?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our data system, my dad tells the story about, in the 1980s, he started the data system on an old Apple IIe. And then from there, he would build iterative versions of it until the 2000s, when finally he hired somebody to build something. And we worked with that system which was a basic data system. I guess it's considered basic now. At the time, it seemed, great. It's very functional. And it would, and then we had a mapping portion connected to it. Over the last 5 years, we've integrated the data side and the map side. So it's all map centric. So everything is based in the map. So anytime you make a change, it immediately changes on the map. It's not like there's two separate things that are communicating. It makes the whole thing more efficient to make changes from one to the other, change colors, change appearances. But we are now exploring and experimenting with how can we use AI to improve not just our data system, but educate our employees about what both opportunities there are, but also what pitfalls there are, things not to do, information that you shouldn't put into a system like OpenAI. That's, unless you've got a paid version, you're just dumping it into their memory, and it will absorb whatever information that you feed it, which is not good for the confidentiality of our clients. But I think from a technology perspective, it's going to be a huge boon to productivity. What I like though I'll talk about two things. I'll talk about the productivity next. I always like to say is that for the land acquisition side, when you're communicating with landowners, we'll always need to build relationships. And so that's an aspect of our industry that I love. People will sure, communication may become easier, but in terms of, emailing and preparing agreements and that kind of thing. But when you're talking with someone face to face, sitting down at the table with them, that can't be replaced. And but there are a lot of things that will be changed and replaced. I think title work is the perfect example of things that will really go through a drastic transformation over the next 10 years. There's just, and it will just, there's no reason why, even with really old documents, they're training systems to be able to read really old documents and to find everything that they can. Now, everything would have to be digital. And I think that clients will continue to change their expectations of how much title that they actually want to order. Because if right now, I want 3 title agents working on this, we'll do 30-year title and only pull, the mortgages and only pull X, Y, or Z. It's like, all right, in the future, they're going to be like, well, let's go back to patent. If we can use AI and we can get the whole thing. And so title work will become more of, all right, like the AI system will do all the research, and then the human, that sounds weird to say, but yes, the human will go back and double check everything and make sure that it's all accurate and that it's pieced together properly. So that's, it will change. And I think that, and then also data doc preparation and work will continue to evolve. I'm not really sure how that's going to change yet. I mean, I think you can take a contact log and feed it into your system and it'll disperse the information where it should go, but then someone still needs to check it because it's still a human who's writing the contact log and filling out information.
Like, where do you see the industry headed? Like, are you as the marketer, business development, you have to be thinking about that, right? And so
I kind of hear 2 questions, and the first one is just about sort of the IRWA and like the organization and community. And then the second one about the future of our industry, which I think is very bright, especially for the next 10, I'll just say 10 years because that seems like an easy way to do it. But with the advancements in AI, building out all those systems as people migrate towards cities and change their locations, it's just going to require more energy to go to different places than we needed before. And we're going to need, just to power all this is more natural gas lines. And then there's just the issues with the electric transmit, the electric grid across the country. We've talked about it for 20 years, and some aspects of it are coming to a head. And you see utility companies pouring billions of dollars, Texas, California, just into trying to rebuild and fortify their utility grid. Midwest, they've got billions of dollars that they've been doing over the last 20 years with their, I forgot what it's called, the tranche, every single tranche that comes out. And so that's great for our industry as companies are building more of those. That's going to require lots of manpower, lots of people, lots of research and communication with landowners. And so I find that to be extremely encouraging. And then there's just the state of our industry or our community. I think like a lot of industries are getting over the COVID hump, which is reestablished what communication is like, where people can be and be located, and what employees' expectations are of what they can do. And it also, and it changed a business owner's expectations of what people are capable of. And so there's both more trust and also sort of there's less ability to check like how much someone is actually doing. So you're just trying to focus more, I think, on the output of people rather than actually seeing them. And I think that there is a big problem right now with the number of people who are entering the right-of-way industry. So, it's getting tight. I think that there's not a great pipeline for getting new folks trained. That's something that we're working on is, we have training manuals, but the quality of that could certainly improve. Bringing on new people and training and educating them is a process. I mean, it's not, I feel like it's an industry where people don't always have a background in it. You know, if you're from Texas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, there's a school available. Louisiana, you could go and you could learn how to become a land agent, run title, and that kind of thing. But there's very few of those people that I feel like I come across, and a lot of those folks end up working for the clients. They work for a developer rather than working as a land agent. And so it oftentimes these people come from, they're a teacher who, 5 years into their career, they're looking to do something else, or 10 years into a different career, they're looking to do something else, and something pops up because a cousin needs somebody else who's smart and capable and that they can trust. And that kind of happens over and over again. So I think we have a rough pipeline for developing new land agents, and we're definitely going to need that in the next 10 years. And our staffing team, they work, like I said, I mean, we only used to have like 2 people on the staffing team, which my brother Warren oversees that group. Now we have 5 or 6. I can't remember, just because of the amount of kind of research necessary to find the right people.
I would be fascinated to hear more about that. Like, so we've had the same issue. Because you're right. I mean, there's not a lot of people. A lot of people get into this industry by accident, and for us, it is like, it's a huge process to train people.
Yeah,
like it is. It takes a long. It's expensive. Very
time consuming. Yeah.
You could, because you've got to pay however you're going to go about training them. There's the cost in that, but then there's also the time. And time is money, I mean, literally. Yeah. So I'm just interested to hear more about how you guys go about choosing people, like how you go about assessing what will make a good land agent.
Yeah.
So a lot of the folks, if we have someone who's starting out new, we like to put them on as a data doc. Or a data manager, if they don't have any experience working in the industry. And we often find that allows people to use some existing skills that they have, just like being well organized. And the data system, you have to put the information in specific locations, and someone can teach you how to do that. And through that, you end up learning the industry. You learn, the way our data system is structured. You learn how a project progresses, what information is important. You're reading the contact logs of what agents have been saying. You're looking through the title documents. And as the projects progress stage by stage, you get to learn each stage as you go. So we have folks who are senior leaders with us now who started as data docs, working either in New Orleans or on a project. And we get a lot of our folks from that. And then they'll work on title, then they'll go do land acquisition, and then they'll be a project manager. And from an education side, we have a right-of-way manual that we give to employees. A lot of times what happens with that is that folks go through it and they talk with their project manager about it. We don't have like a formal class that folks go through, but we try to keep it conversational. Every now and then my dad will teach a class to different groups, maybe as a project is getting started. We'll have our kickoff meetings are super important to us. Make sure that people have the resources they need. They can last a day to 3 days, depending on the size of the project.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. But the issue is, like, how do I not spend 2 weeks training this person, and it's unbillable time, and it becomes a huge expense to someone who they may decide they're not interested and they end up leaving. Which
we've dealt with that for sure. And so I guess, and it might be helpful for people listening if they're interested in getting into the industry, like, what are you looking for when you're bringing someone on to eventually join the Doyle team? Like, are you guys looking for a set of traits or?
I mean, a big part of it is it depends on the kind of person that you're looking for, which I think is the nice thing about land services work. There's the 3 or 4 buckets: data docs, title agents, right-of-way agents. And there's certainly different skill sets. And it makes it easy to then, you can kind of plug someone into one space and see if it's a fit, and then move to the next one or to the next one. Or maybe like neither of those were a fit and this person was in sales and all they want to do is negotiation. They might be able to just jump straight to doing that and they're good to go. It depends on what we're looking for. Project managers, we want them to be very organized and detail oriented, and good communicators. I mean, communication is one of the big things for us that we're always trying to hammer in on people. And one thing that we require is that for any kind of communication with a landowner, in 24 hours, it needs to be in the data system. The next day, it needs to be, put in our data system so that the client, the project manager, they can see what's happening and know in real time and make adjustments and talk with them about it. So I guess if I was going to land on one thing, it would be good communicators.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's incredibly valuable. And also people who are engaged enough to want to like make this their career and then put in the work. Right. And
yeah,
like that's valuable. They want to be a part of the team. And so going back to the IRWA and what you were saying there too, also like I think associations are great and they're good to be a part of.
Yeah.
And they're only as good as what the people who are in the association put into it. Right. It's not like, I think a lot of people sit back and they're like, why isn't the association doing something for me? It's like, well, you got to be involved. You got to do stuff. You got to be engaged and be committed to. So
I was in a lot of clubs in high school. That's where I'm in in 3 different committees and groups at the IRWA, and which is like not my dad or my brother. That's like not down. They're not that interested. My dad is like kind of on the outskirts. My brother's not interested at all, and I'm like very involved and love to contribute and participate and see what other people are up to. That's what brings me joy. So.
Well, speaking of trainees or someone who's thinking about getting into the industry, what's a piece of advice that you would give to someone who wants to get into the field? Do you have anything in mind?
I don't know. Be patient, have fun. I feel like it's a fun industry. I feel like if you lean into it, like it can be a really, I feel like the people who work in land services, and right away, again, they're a lot of times they're people persons. And they want to talk and get to know people. So I think if you're really open to doing that, I think that this is a good industry for you to get involved with.
Yeah.
I think that there's more educational materials out there now about how to do this kind of work. There's plenty of stuff about how to run title. Shoot, I mean, now you can ask ChatGPT for pick its brain on what it thinks about a question. And I think that helps immensely. Find a mentor, find somebody that works there. If it's your project manager or a title lead that can try to educate you and help you get into it. Cause that's again about the relationship building in this business. That's what people are all about. That's what we're trying to do. We're building relationships with our clients, with the landowners. And so people are really open to that. And so I think just try to jump right in and like bring yourself, try to relate with people how you want and who you are, and try and find a mentor who will help guide you through the different steps of the process of land acquisition.
Yeah, that's good. We'll often tell our guys again that, like you said, find someone who can train you, find someone you trust, get involved, get educated. A lot of this is what you put into it is what you get out of it.
And find someone else that you can, that you can be a mentor to and train. Yeah. Like that's
especially later on
for me. Yeah. Now like kind of I've turned over and now there are folks who have come in and I'm the more senior person who's helping them get more involved. I think it's so funny since I show up at these event. I've helped organize like a few different committee meetings, especially in New Orleans. And now people come to me and they ask for either help on something or how to organize something or what to do. And is learning where you're experienced and how you can share that. And again, the same way that people want to help and build relationships, you have something to offer that you can bring to other people. So brilliant.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you guys just did a crawfish boil recently, right? For the IRWA?
That's right, my man. Yes. That's
awesome.
That's my we've been doing that for years, and we stopped doing it during COVID for a few years, and then we brought it back, and we've really tried to turn it into something that's not just like for our employees or for our team members who are in the New Orleans area. Now we just invite everybody from the IRWA chapter in Louisiana. We invite just sort of anyone we know who's in the right-of-way industry in the kind of Louisiana or Mississippi to come down if they want. We have folks, we invite our insurance providers and our bankers and all these people, whoever's involved, and kids. We've got a big bounty house every year, and the kids love it.
I would come. I would probably
come on down. You're invited.
I'd probably fly down, just for that. Crawfish boils.
I mean, honestly, you can if you want to. It's a great. Let me just tell you. Again, you're on my favorite topic. So, the weekend. So I plan several events throughout the year for our New Orleans office, and like 80% of that is just so that I can have an excuse for me and my family to fly down to New Orleans and go see everybody, and then like go out that weekend. So that weekend that we're having the crawfish boil, so it'll be every year we do it the Friday before St. Patrick's Day parade in New Orleans.
Awesome.
Because they have the St. Patrick's Day parade. And then the next day they have something that's called Super Sunday, which is it's a Mardi Gras Indian parade where the Mardi Gras Indians come out in one of the neighborhoods and they walk through the streets, and you can go like meet them and say hi, and there's bands and stuff, but they have, I don't know if you've ever seen a photo, but these beautiful outfits that they've sewn with elaborate designs on them. It's a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
So come on down.
Yeah,
I'll show you. We'll go out the whole weekend.
Yeah, I was down 3 years ago now with the kids and the family down in New Orleans. It was great.
Great.
Didn't know you then. Wish I had. You could have probably given some good advice.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a list.
Yeah.
This is for you and anyone listening to this podcast. If you want a list, Doyle Land Services has we pulled together from our New Orleans team members. What are your favorite restaurants, places to go, bars, activities?
Sweet.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, when we do our crawfish boil, it's not too far of a drive. You should come down from Chicago. Join us.
Let me know.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
Do that. When do we usually do that, Jeremy? Is it like?
Oh man, I should know.
It's in the spring sometime, so it'll be next year.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you get an invite. That'd be awesome.
Where do you get your crawfish from?
Our friend gets them in live.
Yeah,
but I have no idea.
I should do that. I've thought about doing that. That would be fun.
Yeah,
but then I'd have to get a.
Well, you'd have to get all.
I bet I could rent a pod.
I bet you can.
Yeah,
they're not that expensive either. Honestly, they're like
You're right.
They're not that bad.
I should do that. My wife's going to laugh so hard because I'm going to come off this and she'd be like, how was it? Well, we're going to get a crawfish boil.
Wait, whoa. What did you talk about?
Yeah.
She would be happy, but she would also laugh because I sometimes wander down these paths.
Oh, believe me.
Hey,
my wife
great.
deals with that every day.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
one of our favorite things is Texas barbecue. Since we're from Texas, and so like we just got our big party of the year is our 4th of July party, and so we smoke some briskets and then shoot off fireworks, and it's one of our favorite days.
So you just had it,
we just had it,
and nobody got injured, which is always a plus. My wife told me this year, and I think she tells me this every year, which is that if I come home with, that a missing finger or something, that she will love me less. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. That's fine. I understand.
That's great.
Well, so Taylor, we really appreciate you being on today. Any place people like they can go to your website,
DoyleLandServices.com.
Okay.
You see our LinkedIn. That's where we post all the fun things we're doing.
Yeah.
Interesting things.
Become friends.
Sweet.
So you can go get some crawfish.
Yeah.
That's right.
Move to New Orleans.
Come visit our office in New Orleans.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll just do a joint crawfish boil up here in the Midwest for people too.
I like it. I like it. We'll live podcast from it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's not a bad idea. Doyle Land Service and Chastain Land presents the best Midwest crawfish boil.
Well, there we go.
Let's do it.
That's right.
I think people can look forward to that, and we'll give you future updates on future podcasts. All right, Taylor, you have a good day. We'll talk to you guys later.
The Landcast is a production of Chastain Land and Title. For uncompromising accuracy and land work across oil and gas, commercial, telecom, energy, and more, check us out at chastainland.com. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a review and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us each week as we keep telling the stories of the land industry.